I'm Jason Klamm, and this is the Comedy on Vinyl podcast. The year is 1995. The album is Shame-Based Man. The artist, Bruce McCulloch, and my guest, live from New York. Why did I say live? That's stupid. Ray Harrington.
It's Saturday night.
Ray Harrington is with me. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. I've been nerding out, listening to previous episodes, so it's a lot of fun to finally be able to talk in part of the conversation.
Well, I hope you haven't been listening to super early episodes. If you have, I apologize. Thoroughly.
Oh, it's podcasting. That's the world.
Oh my God. I mean, I've been doing it for almost 6 years now, but it's a world of difference. I mean, but it's I sound like a child at the beginning. I'm like, we have no idea what we're doing. And we've luckily this episode can go up a lot quicker because I don't have to edit it because we have done this album before, but it's been a while since we've talked about it, and it'd be fun to get your fresh perspective on it. But before we do that, you do have something to promote. So let's get that out of the way. I like to get that out of the way if people have the time-sensitive stuff. So,
oh, sure. I am starting a Kickstarter because I would like to put a moon base on Jupiter.
Oh, wow.
I haven't figured everything out yet.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's my plan, is to build a base on the moon.
May I suggest...
Then take that to Jupiter.
Oh, okay. See, that was going to be my next question. I was like, well, you might refer to that as a Jupiter base, but you have decided specifically you want it to the specs of the moon, but then you want to transfer it to Jupiter and see what happens?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I'm excited to see. And what's your goal right now?
$13 billion?
$13 billion. Okay. And when does this start?
And that's with 3 question marks at the end.
I didn't know Kickstarter allowed you to do that. That's great.
It's difficult.
I just coughed into the microphone. But you do have a movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other one. That's what I meant specifically.
Oh, all right. There's also a documentary film called Be a Man, and that is coming out on October 7th on iTunes, Amazon, and all of the digital webscapes. And I'm very excited. It feels like it's finally going to exist.
That's awesome. And tell the audience a little bit about it. I apologize. I did not get to watch it yet. I really want to, but I'm not going to lie.
No, it's totally fine. I think I spoiled the ending with the moon base tease because that's what it originally was going to be called. Build a moon base. And we had some issues with that. I guess J.J. Abrams already copyrighted that.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, he's got his hands in so many different pies.
Yeah, he sent me an email and he said, I already mailed that to myself, so you are SOL. And I was like, SOL sounds like a stepdad phrase.
It really does.
And I'm sorry, I'm riffing way too much. So Be a Man, long story short, my childhood was sans men. I grew up with my mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother. I never had any men in my life, and then cut to being an adult and being married and having a house, and then my wife told me she was pregnant, and I had an existential crisis. I panicked because I didn't know how to be a dad or what that even looked like because I never had one growing up. So I decided to do all of these manly things that I thought made you a man when I was a little kid. And so I set out to kind of take that journey, and the documentary follows that journey.
Well, see, now I'm even more excited to see it. That's fantastic. And I like that you picked an album with man in the title.
I didn't realize it until I was maybe like halfway through re-listening, and I was like, oh, this is actually, there's a good portion of this album that is mirroring a lot of my own internal struggle of masculinity. And because I don't know, it's 2016, I am 33, so I grew up in that era where I was raised with like Roseanne and Wonder Years and things like that. Those were the men that I saw, and as I grew up, it turned into like MacGyver and Magnum P.I. And so then I was stuck as a stunted man boy trying to figure things out before my son was born. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to do the fighting and the drinking and the cars, and it's insane. The journey was fascinating and terrifying at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would do funny things. Being a comedian and being put in situations, I was like, oh, this will be funny.
Right.
And then every time it was being confronted with this weird middle school thing that was inside me, like this tiny little person inside me was like, oh no, all of these things are getting dredged back up. And so I went from being, a pacifist to being just standing in a boxing ring with Vinny Pazienza, 5-time world champion boxer.
Oh my God.
And apparently I had pissed him off by asking him to do this. And so that did not go well. And just getting to relive some fun childhood stuff, riding around in a DeLorean from the Back to the Future movies. That was fantastic. And talk to a lot of great comics. And it's fun. It's a love letter to my son, and it's very funny. And I'm excited for it to exist.
That's awesome.
But moon bases.
Yeah. Moon bases are what's important. That is why we're here, kids. So, my God. So I'm looking through the track listing again of this album. So it's 1995. So you're a few years younger than me. My guess is you didn't hear this when it was released, or am I totally wrong?
I don't remember when it hit me, and I think that's probably something that most people say.
Yeah.
I want to say I think I came across this. I was in high school, and I came across it in a bookstore, which is I think where you should come across like fringe comedy.
Oh yeah,
is in a bookstore, and I saw the CD and it blew my mind. I was like, wait, this Bruce McCulloch from Kids in the Hall has an album,
right? And
I thought it was going to be stand up,
right? Sure.
And so I paid for it, and I went home, and I was so excited to listen to it. And the first time, like from the first track, I went, "Oh, this is very different." But I was hooked immediately. I think normally something like that would turn me off.
In what way?
Well, I think it comes across. Oh boy, like if you aren't immediately sold on Kids in the Hall.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
I think it can come across incredibly precious.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. I remember when somebody first, I think it was Ben Acker, the Thrilling Adventure Hour, he's the one who first picked this for the show, and we listened to it, and I'm like, I love Kids in the Hall, and I especially love Bruce McCulloch, but I'm like, holy fuck, this is a 20-something making an album about a 20-something's brain, a particularly brilliant 20-something, but like he's just, this is what it's like to make an art project, is what it feels like. So I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but I think I wasn't even in college at the time, and so I was primed to have the angst and the sense of having already judged the world and found it wanting. So I was prepared to be like, yes, this is what it is. Give me more of your reality.
Yeah. And I do. I'm sorry. I do particularly like his point of view and the fact that is mixed. It's so dripping in irony while at the same time having this sincere cynicism to it. If that makes any sense.
I think there's a beautiful tragedy throughout the whole thing. I think the subtext of everything is. I was thinking about it earlier, and it's this idea of everyone being a victim of circumstance, from the very, very rich to the very, very poor. You're just stuck wherever you are. Yeah. Either in a relationship, there's a lot of like angsty, breakup-y feeling in the film, in the album, in the sound film, and. There's also this hope to it that comes across like a minimum wage hero. Yeah, like don't worry, we're all stuck in this crappy job, but you're gonna love these tiny quiet moments. Yeah,
the more I think about it, and the more I watch, and I'm always going to be comparing this to what I see on Kids in the Hall, just because that was my first exposure to him. I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to peg where he's going to fall at the end of his career and what he's going to mean to the world of comedy, because he's somehow in one of the most popular sketch groups of all time. But like you say, fringe is a very good word for what this album is. It's its own thing completely.
Yeah, and from what I understand of like articles I've read and interviews and things like that, he's definitely. I read his memoir as well. He's, especially at that time, he was just running away from any semblance of normal and expectation. And so I think part of this is that sense of just, well, I'll put something out that I want to hear.
Yep.
And then people embraced it, and he was like, oh no. and then he did the Drunk Baby Project, and I still love that as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very Bruce McCulloch thing. Like, let me. Oh, you want to like me? Then prove that you want to like me.
Right. Yeah. And there's that tone throughout the whole thing. There's that tone in his acting even. There are times when I feel like he is pushing me to either not enjoy him or really appreciate what he's doing to push me.
And that is such a struggle to be a fan of him.
I know.
Like I am a tried and true, like deep in my bones fan of Bruce McCulloch. I mean, Kids in the Hall is my biggest influence of just having a sense of humor and what I find funny. And I always loved the the absurdity of reality that Kids in the Hall showed, and finding very, very tiny, mundane things, and just expanding and expanding and expanding until the most normal thing becomes just crazy. And I would watch Kids in the Hall thinking, oh, I love this tone. I love what they are doing and what they are saying. And I think listening to the album was the first time I realized, oh, that's not a tone that the show has. The show is a collection of 5 different people's very specific sense of humor. Bruce is I think it's that bass tone that everything carries through.
It's true. Yeah, that is one reason why, while the show is still rewatchable, it is one of those things that I can't really passively watch. I can passively absorb like a Monty Python because I love Monty Python, but sure. If we're going to Kids in the Hall, I have to actively watch and be ready to watch, and that could just be my brain, but it is so it's jarring from one sketch to the next, even if they're sort of connected, because there's all those voices there. And the fact that the guy who made this album is also the guy with a cabbage for a head is at the same time, like, it makes sense, but it also feels like there's almost this thing of, specifically with a sketch like that is obviously making fun of a lot of different tropes in sketch. While it's making fun of those tropes, it's also, I feel like there's a part of him as the pretentious 20-something that he was that was like, well, are you laughing at me or are you laughing at the wrong thing? Like, it just does feel like a test no matter what. And while I kind of like that challenge personally, I can see why it might turn some people off.
Oh yeah, I think something like this is such a it's a very academic pursuit, and I don't know why it hit me the way it did when I first heard it. Maybe because it was so different. I think it fits in a different time. Yeah. That kind of the spoken word sensibility to it, I think, fits in an earlier kind of exploratory comedy world. Yeah. I'm thinking like Fire Sign Theater, like the more theatrical kind of radio-based comedy. And then here comes this album from basically like the grunge comedy troupe. That is very unexpected. Yeah, no, absolutely. If we're, I'd never heard anybody refer to them as grunge comedy, but I do feel like, at least in terms of period, that's absolutely perfect, and in terms of aesthetic, because they're not punk. They have a punk aesthetic to them, in that, probably all because of Bruce McCulloch, but there's definitely that. Yeah, I think it's grunge though, because I think punk would be. I think everybody in the troupe would, if they were surrounded by like a punk kind of ideal, they'd be like, it's a little loud in here. Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's that would be that would not be Canadian enough. This is absolutely perfectly Canadian at the same time. Yeah. And ironically, I mean, you have Vigil on the album, and it's a kind of ode to the Seattle scene when Kurt Cobain killed himself. And I remember, that's how I got, oh my God. So I got the CD, and I was super excited that I had the CD, and I had my first computer. And because that's right around the right time.
Yeah,
I had my first computer, so I burned the CD on my computer. I ripped it there, and I would listen to it on my computer, and it screwed up the track listing. So Vigil was always the first thing that came up, and that's how I was introduced to the album. Was that was the first track, and I was like, this isn't even really funny. This is
right.
This is just heartfelt and sad, and it's but beautiful.
Yeah.
And I still listen to that, and I'm impressed with it, and I feel like this album just is a perfect sales pitch for why Bruce McCulloch needs to write like essay formed novel. Like, just give me books that are just tons and tons of short stories and like little essays and things like that, and I will just devour all of them.
Yeah, and the more I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to figure out what his. I want to know. Something like that would be perfect, because I would like to know what his evolution has been mentally as a comedian. Because I mean, he's even talked about recently how he's, I've calmed down a bit since I was in my 20s, but like, has he? I want to know, because he's made some real, and I don't mean this in an insulting way, some real pedestrian stuff since then, but it's money making stuff. I do want to know. I want to know creatively where this guy's brain is at right now. Like, if he were to do a new album today, what is that? What does that become? Is it now? I actually, speaking of which, I have not heard Drunk Baby Project. So how does it compare? How similar or different are they?
I think it's more musical than Shame Based Man. And there's a couple of tracks on there that I tend to skip. Okay. Because I think they're more, once you get the initial joke, it's like, okay, this was great, and then let's move on to the next one. Okay. But there's some stuff on there that's really, really great. I'm struggling to come up with an example because they're mostly songs. Sure. But there's some fantastic stuff on there, and it's still great. It's still very good. But like, I did some reading, and I guess Shame Based Man kind of went out of print, and fans were asking Bruce where they could get Shame Based Man, and he's like, I don't know, I can't even get it myself. So he released Drunk Baby Project on his own. Wow. In answer to that, well, here, now you can get this. That's crazy. So there's that sense of it, and I think with something like a Shame Based Man or a Drunk Baby Project, they're so just in a passing moment. They're so tied to a very specific moment in his life, in the listener's life, and you're creating these collections of little sketches or songs or poems, whatever. I think each one of those albums would be completely different even 6 months later. Yeah. No, like, I really liked this part, but right. I had a better thing come into my head, a week later. Yeah, that's a good point. In re-listening, I don't know how recently you re-listened to it, but you probably don't even need to, do you have a favorite track off of the whole thing? I did re-listen to it last night, and I do it occasionally. I feel like I need to, there are moments where I'm like, I need to get back to certain comedy things in my life. I will rewatch Roseanne from time to time. Because it's a phenomenal sitcom. Like, it's, in my mind, that's the top of that particular mountain. So I like to revisit that, and then I have comedy films. I'm like, okay, those are the ones that I aspire to. So this album is easy for me to revisit as a comedian, as a stand-up, because I don't feel the fear of something rubbing off the wrong way. Okay. The way I would if I was listening to a stand-up album. Yeah. Like, Kyle Kinane, I think, is a fantastic stand-up comedian. That's like the last big fan moment I had before I was too far into comedy to be like, oh, I'm a fan as an audience member. Yeah. but even now, if I go back and listen to like Death of the Party or something, I'm listening to it in a very different way and kind of pushed back a little bit, just because I don't want something to get into my mind, and then I'm writing a joke that's too similar, or my voice starts to sound that way.
Yeah.
So with this, I can just wallow in it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I get
and not
that.
worry about that.
I have the luxury of not being a stand-up, at least for that part of it. But I completely get that. Do you think this is going to go off on a tangent a bit, but do you think that fear is unfounded? Do you think it's just our own paranoia? Because I have it with other things, not stand-up particularly. But do you think it actually would affect you if you dug deeper?
I think in any creative form, I think you get nervous that you're just going to. I think it's a sense of being found out.
Yeah. Yep.
And feeling like a fraud. Like if somebody looks too closely, it's like, oh no, you're going to see my influences.
Right.
Because there's a difference between influence and just outright, oh, you're doing that person.
Sure.
You know, I think with stand-up it's a little harder because like you can watch a sketch and go, I can feel their influence here. Clearly, whoever wrote this loves, XYZ, whatever sketch troupe or you can look at a sketch and go, oh, this person liked this era of SNL.
Right.
But it's not coming through in a sense of, oh, that person just sounds like that writer.
Right.
With stand-up, because it's just a singular thing, it's just a voice and you're talking and you're telling a joke. There are rhythms and cadences that can come, they can just be ripped whole cloth from somebody else. And when a comedian is starting, it's like you can look at somebody on stage and go, oh, okay, here are the two comedians they like the most because they sound exactly like them.
Right. Yeah,
and then
that's
you
a good
kind
point.
of let it become your own.
You have less to mask you if it is just you and your voice and a microphone.
Yeah, and it worries me because, so many times comedians will come up with a joke or a structured thing where there's like a punch right here, and then you'll see, an established national comic like on television or in a special or something like that, and they do that same exact thing, and you go, oh, and it's like you're mentally just crossing it off the list.
Mm-hmm,
all right, don't do that anymore. Because comedy's a finite thing, and the way you structure a joke is just going to be... There's only so many ways you can do it when you can't use editing or visuals or anything else. So, yeah, I think there is a guarded sense there. At the same time, I think as creatives, we all tend to get a little too worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I went through a phase as a stand-up where I was like, I'm throwing away so much material because I'm afraid that even the topic has been touched before.
Yeah, right.
And it took me a little while for me to finally just go, everything's been talked about.
Yeah.
There isn't a single topic in the world that hasn't been dealt with in stand-up in some capacity.
Sure.
So, you just have to make it your own. You have to talk about it from your perspective and not worry about that. But yeah, I think there is a little more safety because I don't want my inner monologue to start to carry the rhythms that another comedian has.
I get that. And that does make sense. And luckily, the bonus here with a Bruce McCulloch, I don't think anybody ever could even try to mimic what he does. There's no, and I've tried to do an impression of the man. It just doesn't. You can't. It's not. He is otherworldly in that way to the point where, yeah, I feel like you can absorb this. He's dealing with, again, some classic themes, like you say. Nothing hasn't been touched on, but he does it in these ways where you have zero idea what he's actually talking about.
Right, but there's some beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Your original question was, is there a track that's like my favorite track on the album? I think it's "When You're Fat." I think is the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because on its surface, it could be seen as I think if I saw the track title on a lot of different comedians' albums, my eyes would just roll right in the back of my head.
Yep.
But it's this sad, maudlin song about this poor woman who is alone and feeling very alone on her birthday, and just it's just a sad, depressing moment in this woman's life, and it is so funny because it takes away all drama. It's just a person's life, and there's a line in it, and I'm not going to do it justice. I can't remember it exactly, but it's like your hand slips under the cover. She's laying in bed. Your hand slips under the covers, and you climax, and then you roll over and think about your student loans. And I ruined the cadence of it, the rhythm, everything. But that moment, I remember even back in high school hearing that and being like, oh my God, that's so normal.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelmingly normal. And then as I grew up, I went through college, and I really liked, the idea of this, hyper specific normal reality being completely absurd. And now I think about it as a 33-year-old with a kid and, crushing student loan debt. I'm like, oh yeah, I know you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you.
Yeah.
So it's just a beautiful moment.
Man.
I think there's so much of that in his albums, in Kids in the Hall, and I think anybody that is a fan of Kids in the Hall can watch the show and a sketch will pop up, and you just kind of inherently know who that's coming from.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's that is the challenging thing about his work and about their work, where there are a lot of comedians. I interview, every few weeks I interview somebody new, and everybody's got their own perspective. Most of them are stand-ups, or at least actors, but most of them are stand-ups. And, you will frequently get, and I won't necessarily I won't go out of my way to disagree with it, but there are people who are of the opinion that, well, whatever makes people laugh that's comedy, and that's all it is. But this is a thinker to the point of frustration, and is it, who would is this the kind of thing you would recommend to just any comic, or do you have to feel it out and just say, oh, this is your, if they've never heard of it, oh, this is your taste, maybe you'd like this? Like, is this an album that you've gone out of your way to recommend to people?
When I was younger, I would, scream it from the hilltops.
Mm-hmm.
I would sing it. Is it sing it from the hilltops?
It's one of
and
those
then
too.
Shout it from the rooftops.
Mm-hmm. It's broadcast it from the moon base.
I would broadcast it from the moon. Thank you, and we need to get that movement happening. I would tell everybody about it, but it was in that very college vein of just, look what I found.
Yeah.
And aren't I the best for having found this before you? But I think now I've gotten, I don't know if it's jaded or cynical of me to think it. I think it's just more understanding that comedy is incredibly subjective, and there are whole worlds of comedy that are for different people and not at all for others. And I think Shame-Based Man is one of those secret slide it across the table kind of moments where you go, I think this might be for you.
Right.
I certainly wouldn't recommend it to everybody.
Sure. Have you connected to other comics have you ever had a discussion about this with another stand-up or other comedians of any stripe?
Yes, a couple. I think it's tricky because you tend to meet like if somebody's a big fan of Bruce McCulloch and Shame-Based Man, they are automatically a fan of Kids in the Hall. I think it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Venn diagram of somebody who is a lover of Shame-Based Man and not at all a fan of Kids in the Hall. Maybe there's one person, and it might be Bruce. Right. But right. So I've had the conversation with people, and I love, waxing philosophical about the entire oeuvre, right? But like one of my closest friends is a huge Kids in the Hall fan, a big fan of Bruce, and this album was actually one of those things that we originally connected on. We were working at a movie theater, and we were both projectionists, and this is how we came and found each other, which sounds like a perfect track that would be on a Bruce album.
Right.
These two projectionists, these lonely men in the night, finding each other in the flickering celluloid, right? Like that's just something that he would do. And we just loved talking about it and quoting things back like normal people do with The Simpsons.
Sure,
that's
yeah.
what we were doing with this, and and then there's an immediate shame washing over me because we. Long story short, I had the opportunity to open for Kevin McDonald a couple of years ago, and I was so excited and very happy to do it, and we hit it off like immediately. I love Kevin. Kevin's great, and we were like best buds for the weekend. It was wonderful. And so the next time the troupe was getting together to do a tour, Kevin hooked me up with some tickets, and I was so excited, and we went and we watched the show, and I had this beautiful middle school moment in the crowd and I could watch the show, and it was great. They were fantastic. Nothing was lost. It was still just as sharp, and the bite was still there. Like it still hurt a little bit, which was great.
That's awesome.
And so afterwards, we went backstage and I tried to compose myself, and I brought Tom, my friend Tom, with me, the projectionist, and he was very excited. And he can be cool in a moment, and a way I can't, because I'm too in my own head.
Sure.
And so we met everybody, and everybody was fantastic, overwhelmingly normal and inviting, and I just kind of stood there uncomfortable, and all of these feelings of like, I need to tell Bruce McCulloch these things, right? But I don't want to be that person.
Sure.
Especially around a guy who is kind of just, he exudes a sense of not wanting that.
Right.
And I made it through most of the time we were all hanging out, and right at the end, I just kind of let everything fall out of my mouth. And I was just like, I just think you're great, and you've been a bit of inspiration for me, and I have both of your albums, and you should really write a book. And I was just getting like ushered out of the room by Tom. I wasn't getting kicked out, but my friend Tom was like pushing me out of the room, like, just get out of here. And that will eat away at me for the rest of my life.
I don't know. I feel like that's the experience you're going to get with Bruce McCulloch.
Is there ever a moment where you can be like, oh yeah, it was totally cool, and he was super cash?
No, and if you want to go based off of the character he portrays, I was just thinking about it. He's like a slightly more approachable Andy Kaufman character. And I never say Kaufman. I don't know where that came from. I feel like he lives for the theater of life to the extent that he's perfectly happy knowing that other people are awkward in his presence. And that might be, in that way, you made it perfect for him. So therefore, you did have the perfect Bruce McCulloch experience.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Because he does... There's a very short list of people that would terrify me if I knew they were watching my set.
Right.
Just like to the bone, like, oh, I don't know if I could go out there.
Yeah.
And the list is like 2 people. And it's Bruce McCulloch, and the other one is Stuart Lee, but I mean that's a whole different story. But
yeah,
because there's a sense of, even if you were getting along with him and everything was great, and you knew each other fairly well at that point, I feel like at any moment he could just turn and it would all crumble in front of you. Like he strikes me as the type that you're both laughing at a thing that just happened, and then he just abruptly stops and goes, now why do you find that funny?
Yeah, that is there needs to be a word for that. I'm sure the Germans do have one, but that is absolutely correct. That is exactly, you get that from just his presence, just from looking at him. And you get that from, if you look at a photo of him from 1992 to a photo of him yesterday. I've heard him interviewed. He's a perfectly nice, congenial fellow. However, there is something about him that scares you. And that's okay. I mean, I think that's kind of cool. But at the same time, it's just like, how did he accomplish that? Why do I feel this way? What does it say about me? But I completely relate to it. I think you and I are both on the same wavelength we feel about him the same way, although... You got to me. I wouldn't have even gotten those words out. I don't know how you manage that.
And please don't take that as me like name dropping in any way.
No.
I'm sure he would not remember a second of that interaction. but I will never be able to forget it.
Of course.
Because it will always be a regret. Like I'm going to replay that over and over. Like, how could I have been cool? How could I have done it? And I think that feeds into the grunge mentality.
It really
does. I think
does.
Bruce McCulloch is, this is going to sound ridiculous, I think he is the Kurt Cobain of sketch comedy.
I'll take it. I think that's not imperfect. That is a very that's really great. I guess we're just lucky that we still got him.
Sure.
I'll take that. My God, if I ever get him on the podcast, I won't necessarily say who told me that unless you want me to, but I feel like I should be like, somebody once told me that they think you're the Kurt Cobain of comedy, and then I want to see his reaction.
Was he a big man in flannel? And it was him. It was him. And this feeds into my weird, like we were talking about at the beginning. I didn't have a dad growing up.
Right.
I understand and deal with the fact that I have daddy issues,
sure.
right? And they're going to come out in this sense of, working with people I admire.
Sure, yeah.
Especially in comedy. And so all of that stuff is just feeding into me with a guy like Bruce McCulloch, where it's like, oh, you're detached, you're emotionally unavailable,
right,
and you hide your feelings. Like this is a perfect magnetic connection.
God, yeah.
Where whatever isms he has perfectly match like another Lego piece to these isms. And I'm like, yeah, you can go ahead and absolutely emotionally wreck me. Go ahead. I will clean your car.
I like that in terms of what that probably does to your brain, specifically your brain, in terms of its receptiveness to different types of comedy. There are people who I've had to force myself to be interested in certain comedy. I've had to really push myself. I wonder if it's the same for you. Do you find any kind of comedy completely out of reach for you, or are you pretty open to listening to new shit?
There was a period of time, like my late college days and my early stand-up days kind of overlap a little bit. And in that time, I was definitely in that vein of, I've already figured out what's good and what's bad.
Yeah, right.
And let me tell you who's bad, I think as I've gotten older and more experienced in comedy, I think is more the more important part of it. I can appreciate the craft of just about any stand-up or sketch or anything like that. I think when it drifts towards more being more absent of passion or somebody really loving what they're doing there, I think it's easy to see that, and that's when I tend to go, it's homework.
Yeah.
There are things that feel like homework. Some seasons of Saturday Night Live feel like homework when I'm in it and I'm watching, and my wife jokes about it, and she's like, no, I get why you have to watch it. I just really don't want to right now.
Sure. Yeah.
And but then there's moments where it's magical and I'm happy and I love that it's there.
But I like that you attribute that idea of it feeling like homework to being more of a lack of passion than your unwillingness to give something a shot, because it does seem like you're pretty open-minded when it comes to this stuff.
Sure, and I mean, on a good day, that's how I want to be at
sure.
least portrayed. Mm-hmm. I at least want my external image to be that. I mean, internally, if it's super hacky kind of stuff, I'm just like, I have no interest in this. This is not for me.
Yeah.
But I think that comes with just really believing that there's comedy for everyone. Yeah. Everyone is going to have a certain type of comedy. That's because everybody's sense of humor is different.
Sure. And
it depends on how you're broken.
Yeah. It absolutely. Yeah.
What way are you broken? You'll probably laugh at something in a different way.
It's absolutely true. I really want to. I don't know enough about. Here's where I piss off those annoying commenters, and I say, "Oh, I don't know such and such," and then they get angry. But I really don't know enough about his backstory. I feel like I can infer a ton from his material, but I also feel like I can maybe infer nothing from it because he also could be playing the character of this broken man. That's what's so damn challenging about it. I'm sure he's dealt with some of this stuff. The addiction thing I know has been. He's talked about before. I know that there is addiction in his past and bits and pieces of that kind of a broken childhood, but I don't know the specifics. I don't know if I want to, but that's part of where the challenge comes from.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with not knowing his past.
Mm-hmm.
I think my interest is definitely more in how the troupe works and worked in the past, how they found each other. I know they've all talked about it, over and over and over, especially. Oh no!
You caught yourself.
I did it.
You caught
yeah,
yourself.
I'll see myself out. But especially since the advent of podcasting, I think they've probably had to talk about it so much.
Sure.
That they really do need to just make the book, just write the Kids in the Hall book, and get it done. Because I am fascinated with it. I think because they are so different, and there's definitely been a lot of infighting with them, but the fact that they're still kind of a family and come together, that's interesting. How these very different voices work together is a fascinating thing.
It's true.
I think the individual story. I'm not as interested because I think that part is more personal than maybe I'd care to get with them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you it's a thin line to walk, but you're absolutely right in terms of just the fact that they stay together is kind of shocking. And like you say, if you can still put together brilliantly biting satire, that's just, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get how you do it. I think that's great that they still do it, but that's.
But maybe that's part of the because, like, you and I both are in that world of comedy, and maybe that's why we're uninterested or less interested in the more like childhood kind of experience and growing up and becoming fully fleshed human beings.
Sure.
Than we are in when things started to happen. Like any of the SNL memoirs and things like that. If someone could just like rip the book in half, where it starts when they got a phone call from a casting agent or something like that, that's where it gets interesting for me, because that is such a machine that I want to know more about that. It's like, I don't need to know if you were molested. I appreciate it. I understand.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just so cliche. That's awful. I feel terrible.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I'm actually hoping. Now I'm just gonna. I don't want to say that this is definitely gonna happen, but I might have a pretty good SNL, half of the SNL origin story coming up on the podcast in a few months is what I'm hoping. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. It's not gonna be Lorne Michaels or anything, but my hopes are that we're gonna have at least half of the story. And I'll tell you a little bit about some of the stuff that we've already discussed when we stop recording, because I can't again. Sure. Either way, but yeah, you're absolutely right that is one of those stories that hasn't been properly told. It has been definitely told from certain perspectives, but you don't get a full picture. And history's written by the winners, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm excited to do. You should tell me any questions you've got regarding the history of SNL, because you might actually have some more intelligent questions than I do. I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh my gosh, that's no. I don't have to do that right now, do I?
Yeah, absolutely, right now, 100%.
Okay,
so
start with the molesting question.
Yeah,
I think that start there and then just see where that goes.
Just ask everybody regardless of who it is that comes on this show. I just assume that's happened.
Right? Just I think either that or start a new podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you have guests on, and all you do is ask one question right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been molested, and what was that like?
Sure.
And then just leave it. I really didn't want to talk about this. I'm so sorry. We're getting wildly off topic from my Moonbase discussion.
I know. Where the hell did the Moonbase go?
All I'm going to say is this. The money will come with the Moonbase. It's just going to take the upfront cost. Sports teams are going to pay a mint. If you think basketball is interesting now, wait until they have less gravity and slam dunks become a 3-minute event.
You guys got to get on top of this. The second this thing goes live, you guys got to make sure you're giving. What kind of? I'm assuming you got some postcards and stuff people get for giving you money.
Oh yeah, we have a whole tiered system on Kickstarter for gift packages. Some of the solid stuff is in the middle brackets.
Sure,
so $150,000.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually name the NBA team.
Oh, that's great.
And it's fairly simple. You don't get to name it just whatever you want. You have
Sure.
to pick from a list.
Okay.
It's all the existing NBA teams,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of the town or city in which they're based, it's just Moon. So it's like the Moon Hornets and the Moon Bulls. And I like it because it turns them all into terrifying creatures.
It really does. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, like Chicago Bulls. Oh, yeah, that's the NBA team. Moon Bulls. And you're like, okay, well, we need to fix that problem.
Much more formidable at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and to get back to what you asked about, like listening to comedians and being afraid of letting them creep into your voice.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a Norm Macdonald YouTube binge last night,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm terrified that this is starting to creep into Norm Macdonald territory.
You should just embrace it. My buddy Alan on my other podcast was just doing Norm Macdonald on the show the other day. Like he was just doing an impression of him. Just he's like, let's try this out for 5 minutes, and it was relaxing. But I understand you've got a rep to protect. I get that.
Oh, what little rep I have.
Okay, so why listen to Shame-Based Man if you haven't heard it before? If you are a fan of Kids in the Hall, what's a good reason?
Oh, well, then, I mean, if you are a fan of Kids in the Hall,
Mm-hmm.
you've kind of already answered that question.
I think so.
Right? It's another thing that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, keeping in that grunge mentality, it's like when that band was doing their thing, and then they break off, and then you're just left with Eddie Vedder, and you're like, oh, man, I wonder what the old bassist is doing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just Eddie. That's your only choice. So I think people tend to seek out those things. I've done it. I'm guilty of it. I think I have ingested every single media thing that exists that they've done as offshoot projects.
Yeah.
But for Shame-Based Man, the recommendation comes from, I mean, just how singularly Bruce McCulloch it is. And listening to Shame-Based Man feels like you're getting a concentrated like pitch meeting for an entire season of the show.
Right.
Like this is where his sense of humor lives. And you get to experience that for a while, and some of it is fantastic, and other parts you're like, I don't know if maybe I'm not keeping up with this, or maybe he's not telling me in the best way. But there is a miscommunication happening somewhere. But that's a beautiful part of it, because then like a line will hit you. I think his writing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
His writing makes me want to chop off my hands. And I don't know why I would do that. I think you could chop one off, and then you're just kind of stuck holding a cleaver with the other one, going, I didn't think this through. Because how am I going to get this other one?
It's so true.
But no, yeah, his writing is fantastic, and I think having such a unique kind of spoken word album allows that to shine. And don't listen to it expecting like a beautiful voice to be singing.
Right. Yeah. That was the other thing I forgot to bring up, is that like that's absolutely not what you're getting, but it's also at the same time very satisfying that is the voice that's coming out, because that's the voice you hope Bruce would have. I think.
It's like I'm reminded of a sketch that was on. I don't know if it was on the U.S. Airing, but I found it forever ago, and it's just Bruce McCulloch walking out onto the stage, in the Kids in the Hall studio, and he turns on a boombox, and it's just like a very simple, like drum beat happening, and he just starts slowly and very awkwardly dancing to it, like with like the way a toddler would dance almost. And then the beat would drop, and he'll like freeze for a second, and then it'll come back in. And then there's just a close-up of his face. The beat drops, and he goes, check it out. And then it goes right back into it. That's a litmus test for somebody's sense of humor.
Yeah.
If you laugh at that, that's the type of comedy for you. And but I completely understand why. Meanwhile, I'm laughing my ass off at it, but I completely understand why somebody would go, "What is this?" and why are people laughing?
Right. Yeah, 100%. That's a perfect condensing of why to listen to this thing and why it's kind of beautiful. So, all right, Ray Harrington, where can people find you online? Where can people find your movie? You go from there.
Okay. I am on Twitter at Ray Harrington, on Facebook, whatever the weird URL is, just Ray Harrington. And I'm on rayharringtoncomedy.com. And you can find Be a Man. It will be on iTunes, Amazon, and all the other places. Just type in Be a Man, and it'll be there. You can go to beamanthefilm.com. I really am excited for the movie to come out. I know it's this is when I'm supposed to plug it, but it's the most personal and funniest thing I've done, so I'm really excited for it to exist. And of course, go to buildthebase.org. And that has all the information about the moon base. We have some fantastic blueprints and some soil sample information there as well. We're going to build a pool because we just have no idea how that's even going to feel.
Sure. To
swim in less gravity.
That's super exciting. To be inside of a pool while it's surround like a sphere, like it sounds like it'd be a sphere pool, a spherical floating pool. Boy, I'm getting more and more excited.
It feels
about
like
this
birth
as we go. Yeah, that's I don't know if that's creepy.
Buildthebase.org.
Buildthebase.org. Please make sure. I mean, the movie, sure. I mean, of course, we want you, but
and we're going to do screenings of the movie on the base. It's going to be a great thing.
Oh, well, see, that's even more exciting. So, guys, this is going to be the first movie played on the moon. That's.
I think it's going to be the second. Actually.
Oh, what's going to be the first one?
Oh, I think they've played a few movies. I feel like they've done that, haven't they?
Have they tried to project a movie? Is this what you're telling me, that they projected a movie onto the moon?
I was gonna yes and this to death. I really was.
Yeah.
And then the very real question of have any movies been played on the moon? Now I need to know that.
I can't imagine they can get any light projecting device to successfully. I could be. I know shit about shit when it comes to space, but that said, if they haven't, this is.
But what about what about in the capsule?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So
Yeah.
Could they have possibly brought some sort of media watching device with them, and did they in fact watch perhaps a feature or maybe even a short film? Did they riff a movie on the moon? Because that's boy, oh boy.
Yeah, because I feel like if it were today, it wouldn't. It would be a non-starter. That question. It's like, yeah, iPad Mini, you got it. It's all set.
Right.
But then, I mean, watching a movie on the moon, that's a to-do.
It's absolutely true. Boy, oh boy. Well, guys.
They played golf.
It's true. Why not watch a movie?
And then the question is, what movie should it be?
Yeah. I don't know. That's rough.
Oh, boy.
That's really rough.
Oh, boy.
I can't even improvise a really good joke about that.
Why don't we say Brain Candy?
Let's see. Oh, fuck. I love that movie. I know people sometimes don't like it. I love it. I really like it.
Who doesn't like it? I want their names.
People don't like it. I've heard that some of the kids in the hall themselves don't really enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. They are unhappy. But they made the whole movie when everything was breaking apart.
Sure.
And wow, this is the fear of being a Kids in the Hall fan, is it becomes part gossip show.
Yeah. Right.
Where it's like, well, I heard, Dave didn't want to do the movie.
Well, when I have one of
them,
and
they had to practically threaten to sue him to do the movie, and that's why he's not in it a lot.
Well, once I have one of them on the show, we'll have to ask them a ton of questions. Ask them if they want it to be played on the moon. That is going to be question number 2.
Well, I'm going to give you my contact for one of them. I won't say who.
I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure, because that would be a fantastic conversation.
Oh, I agree. Well, Ray, thank you so much for doing this. You're welcome.
Thank you for
back
having me. Sincerely, this was fun.
Anytime. I don't know if you're ever in LA performing or just visiting, but feel free. Come back on the show. This was a ton of fun. Please, guys, go to the website again, the actual website again.
Oh, beamanthefilm.com.
Beamanthefilm.com. Guys, check us out. You know where to find us. We're at Comedy on Vinyl everywhere. Go to lookingforwardmovie.com, which is my movie that's coming out one blog at a time throughout 2016 through November. And it's fucking weird. We're at 8 hours now, 8+ hours at this point, and at some point it'll be cut into a watchable single piece of something. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Ray, thank you again for doing the show.
Sincerely, thank you.
And as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of Stolen Dress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klamm. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. Please visit stolendress.com to listen to our other podcasts, read our blogs, read our tweets, watch our videos, and read our books. Please subscribe on iTunes, and if you like us, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. You can find us on facebook.com/comedyonvinyl, Twitter @comedyonvinyl, and find everything else at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs and tune into the new Stand Up channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast.